This is the Amazfit T-Rex 3 Pro, and I don't recommend it. Instead, I recommend this, the Amazfit T-Rex 3 Pro. Wait, what? Confused yet? You know what? Let's start with the positives this time for once. Now, both watches have tracking algorithm that keep getting better with every other update, I would say. I mean, fundamentally, data capture, even with early post-release firmware, was solid straight out of the box, I'll tell you what. But there are still some occasional inconsistencies with naps. Not sleep, because sleep tracking is pretty much bang on these. And heart rate capture between anaerobic and VO2 max zones, there is some weird variability there. They do exist. But unless you're actively benchmarking these against another watch you've had, most who daily either one probably won't be bothered by these little minor issues that much. For me, as long as a tool like this is consistent and mostly accurate, I'm not like a top-level Olympian or anything, I'm perfectly fine. Now, I want to add that if Amazfit is so hard set on mimicking Garmin, because it is sometimes, it would be nice to have a web portal just like Garmin's Connect so I can access all my data more conveniently on a larger screen. Up until recently, I never understood the fuss and draw of those tiny little dedicated flashlights that they use on, say, the Garmin Forerunner and Enduro, because I'm just so used to my headlamp and all that. But then, after having it on the T-Rex 3 Pro, I can't go back, guys. Like, whenever I switch over to something else now, like right now I'm using the Coros Pace 4 tester, I feel less equipped, like more naked. Really, the flashlight has been indispensable during late-night baby diaper changes, looking for lost toys deep under the couch, and of course for workouts in the early morning or at sunset. Like, here's the thing, for activities like running and walking, you can have the watch use the flashlight as a safety beacon. Like, coincidentally, you can see that the light array is situated at the 12 o'clock position, so that as you swing your arm, the light will be visible to vehicles coming from behind. Now, circling back to what I said earlier in the intro, the biggest reason why I'll choose the 44mm over the 48mm model is obviously the smaller size and weight, because when I'm on the go, I generally prefer something not too thick and bulky that will get caught in jacket sleeves or feel cumbersome on your wrist over a long period of time. Like when you're on an extended run or are trying to finish 15 minutes of jumping in place on the HIIT program or something, the lighter weight on this 44mm model doesn't feel like an extra weight you're lugging around for no apparent reason. And I've also seen pictures of the 48mm version on smaller size users and reviewers, and it's like looking at someone wearing a sundial or a wall clock on your wrist. Interestingly, regardless of which Amazfit T-Rex 3 Pro you choose, both models are $400. Now, the 48mm has 2 colorways, whereas the 44mm has 3 colorway options. Display size on the larger one obviously is bigger, 1.5 inches versus 1.32. Both are AMOLED, protected by sapphire glass, which is awesome and fantastic. Both displays can hit 3000 nits max, and they have integrated light sensors to handle auto dimming, auto brightening. Dual band 6 satellite positioning for both as well. And in the back here, you have what Amazfit calls their PPG sensor array. They call it BioCharge 6.0, that covers things like 24/7 heart rate, SpO2, skin temperature, and stress monitoring, among other things. There's also a speaker and mic on board for both of them that handle phone calls as well as talking to this right here, which is Amazfit's own AI called Flow AI. And at the top right here, if you hold down, let me go back here. At the top, you have, just like certain Garmin watches, there's a dual color LED flashlight. You can switch from nighttime low visibility red to, let me cycle that properly, and to 3 brightness of white light. And there's also a max boost for a few seconds, and then you hold that down to turn it off. Very easy to use and very convenient. Now, battery life on this thing, for the larger version, I got 12.6 days on average use with everything turned on, and 7.5 days on the 44mm, still very respectable. Now, both of these also cover 180 plus trackable activities. I'm sure there will be more added in time, and includes new ones like rucking and recreational diving. Now, these things can operate down to like -40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is fantastic as well, making them like, you know, that's why they're adventure watches. And the weights, again, there's a difference, 76 grams for the 48 mil with the strap and 68 grams for the smaller version. And lastly, both of these have 10 ATM capability. That means you can go swimming and things like that and operate the buttons in the water. And it also can be taken diving to a depth of 45 meters. I find it kind of interesting that both design-wise are quite different from each other, and all the better for it too, even though they're from the same product line. Like the larger version, you can see, is just like hardier and tougher looking with thicker bezels all around. Even the screen is more inset around the surround of the frame, whereas the smaller version is a little bit shallower there. But I would say both have sapphire glass, so it's really not a big deal. There's a protector on the side here, round buttons for the larger version, and also just thicker all around. And like the 44 mil version, depending on what color you get, there's just more color embellishments around here, and also oblong buttons, and it's a little bit thinner on your hand too. The straps are a little bit different, you can see right there. So there's that. Both run Zep OS 5, really nice and smooth. I mean, there are some idiosyncrasies which I found kind of, you know, different or weird. Like say if I'm scrolling, let me try to get to weather. And usually you get to places where the menu just goes down and you come to the end, right? Like when I do touch, I have to scroll up and down like this. It doesn't scroll through and start from the beginning. But when I use the buttons to do the navigation, I can go back to the beginning again. Why can't I do that with touch? So those kind of idiosyncrasies, you know, I wish and I hope that they'll fix eventually. And both of these, by the way, have aerospace and medical grade, like around this, grade 5 titanium. That's really nice. And of course, the sapphire glass combo, it's hard to find at this price, guys. So there's that. If you've been wondering the size disparity between the 48 on the left and the 44 on my wrist in real life, well, there you go, guys. Some of you may prefer the hunky chunky design on the bigger one. I personally prefer something lightweight and more compact. Now, a couple of notes I want to point out that I kind of sort of skipped around in the pros and cons. But since we're outside here in the deep snow, I wanted to share with you guys a little bit, or talk about it a little bit in terms of tracking accuracy under cover. So when it's not covered, perfectly great. Both numbers, by the way, covered, uncovered, perform as expected from modern Amazfits, which is really darn good actually. So when it's uncovered, I get the accuracy is around like 5 to 6 feet off my actual path. Say if I'm cycling or walking along a path, and compared to the actual GPS track, it's about 5 to 6 feet off. Under covered areas, kind of like between buildings, under trees, or in the valley, it's around 8 to 12 feet, which is pretty good actually. Now, I've seen it go as bad as 20 feet, and that was a day when there was a solar storm. So something to bear in mind, guys, as you're testing these, be sure to visit something like the NOAA geomagnetic website, where they tell you what's, you know, you got G1 situation or G3, which is really bad, which will affect satellites like crazy. So your accuracy will drop on those days you use your watch. So don't blame the watch, don't blame where you live. Check the sites first. On a related note, satellite lock takes around 8 to 9 seconds. If you have a clear view of the sky, you step out the door. Comparatively, Coros watches, recent ones, do it in 5 to 6 seconds. It's faster, but in the big scheme of things, really not much separates them. Like you step out of the house, you adjust your clothing, your pants, your socks and everything, and before you know it, your watch is already locked on. So there's that. And I'm sure during this video you've heard workout pause, workout continued, workout resumed. It's what Amazfit has and a lot of watches have is automatic activity tracking for specific sports like walking and cycling and such. But one thing I noticed, you know, there is a delay. It takes, depending on the sensitivity you have it, there is a delay of you starting the activity and it capturing it. But one thing nice about how Amazfit implements it here is it's already tracking your activity even before it announces it. I've noticed this a few times where it says we're tracking activity right now. Say if I'm walking, and if I look at my data, it's already been tracking when I started. So that's pretty cool for what it's worth. Another thing is NFC payment. Both of these watches have it. And just a quick comment about it. I am okay with the safety and security of ZPay itself. It's locked behind PIN numbers and a lot of encrypted things that keep you safe. But it's limited to MasterCard only. I'm like, when was the last time I used a MasterCard? My part of the world, in our part of the world, Visa is more common in it. It is low tide right now. Oh, check that out. Look at that view. Yeah, this is why we do it. Quick word about offline maps. Both of these watches have them. It's really convenient that you can download maps in a lot of apps and services onto this, like Komoot and such, and use these off the grid, which is fantastic. So something at this price, not bad at all. Am I the only one who thinks these need a rotating crown? Aside from being a much faster means of scrolling through multiple screens of information in the first place, it's generally friendlier for users wearing gloves, like you would in winter or somewhere adventurous, precisely the scenarios that these were designed for in the first place. Maybe you can help me answer this. Why do watch brands promise 100-something trackable activities? They slap it onto the watch, but yet when you look closely, they basically have the same generic settings and data capture metrics. Like as it is, Amazfit seems focused on common, trendier activities like rucking and HIIT, to name a few. Can kayaking, skiing, or indoor-outdoor rock climbing get some love too, for crying out loud? This last negative has to do with the 44mm model. So while the strength and durability of the sapphire glass gets a major thumbs up for me, there's this odd half-millimeter gap between the edge of the glass and the bezel surround, and I found that the space is just wide enough for things like small particles to almost permanently get stuck in. For example, the other day, I accidentally got some homemade cookie dough on the screen, and when I tried to wipe it off, some of the dough, as delicious as it was, found its way into the crevice, and I've tried picking the debris out with toothpicks and needles, but no dice. Some of it has taken permanent residence there. And it's not on the 48mm model, so kind of a strange design decision there. I want to make it clear that if you've been swayed into the whole T-Rex 3 Pro is a Garmin killer, hype mobile and all that, just don't go there, guys, because they're totally different categories. And sure, Amazfit did pull inspiration and influences from its competitors, but I believe that Amazfit is doing its own thing and being great at it as well. Now, do I wish there was like greater focus on more granular data capture for more common activities, and also that they tighten up the UI and offline navigation abilities, and also less on slapping a bewildering number of features into this thing? Sometimes. But for most other times, the T-Rex 3 Pro is fantastic. It does everything very well and consistently. Just be sure to get the 44mm, because the other one is so big that if you accidentally graze someone with it, it'll probably knock them unconscious. Plus, I'm quite sure it has its own gravity. Well, that was my take on the Amazfit T-Rex 3 Pro, and I'm sticking to it, dang it. And thanks to Amazfit for playing, and thank you guys for being here. You're the best audience ever. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, show your support, subscribe, like, and reshare this with your friends and family. And also, remember to do something loving and kind for somebody in this world, because guess what? If you haven't seen the news, the world needs it more than ever. And believe it or not, it starts with you. I love y'all very much. Peace out, and until the next time. Whoosh.